I used to be obsessed with results, chasing validation, financial success, and recognition. I didn't care about the process. All that mattered to me was reaching the destination. But after turning 35 and committing to years of therapy, I had a powerful realization. It's not about where we're going, it's about the journey to get there. And yes, I know this might sound like another cliche, but let me tell you, there's a massive difference between hearing it and living it. What really changed my perspective was understanding how deeply our words and beliefs shape our reality. What we say and how we think impacts not just what we achieve, but how we experience the process. And that's what we're diving into today. How to transform the way we look at our journey, and how aligning our thoughts and words can help us create a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Welcome to the space where we grow, reflect, and empower ourselves to live wholeheartedly. If you're new here, I'm Alkistis, the founder of Alchemia Self-Care Rituals, and I'm glad you've joined us. As part of our tradition here, I'd love to leave you with a question to reflect on. What's one way you can embrace your journey more fully today? Drop your answers in the comments and don't forget to introduce yourself. This is a space where you can feel heard, safe, and accepted. If there's a topic you'd love to hear in the future episodes, please let me know. This space is all about you, my amazing community. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. It truly helps me grow this empowering community. So, with no further ado, let's dive in. Let's start with a foundational truth. The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. These narratives are like the lens through which we view the world, coloring every experience, every relationship, and every challenge. They determine not just how we see ourselves, but how we approach life's obstacles and opportunities. The stories we tell ourselves are the lens through which we see the world. And for the longest time, I didn't realize just how much of my story was holding me back. I was brought up in an environment where expressing my voice often felt like an act of rebellion. I was subtly taught that my opinions didn't hold weight, that speaking up wasn't valued, and those messages shaped my inner narrative in ways I didn't even notice. When you're a child, your mind is like a sponge, soaking up everything around you. Dr. Bruce Lipton, in his book, The Biology of Belief, explains that from birth to about age 7, our brains operate predominantly in a theta state, a highly suggestible state, much like being in hypnosis. During this time, we absorb beliefs, behaviors, and attitudes from the world around us without questioning them. These beliefs become the programs that shape how we see ourselves and the world, and they're stored in our subconscious minds. Dr. Lipton uses the analogy of a television broadcast to explain this. Imagine that your life is like a TV set, broadcasting a specific program. The show that plays is determined by the program your subconscious has absorbed. If the program you've been given says you're not good enough or your voice doesn't matter, that's then the show you'll keep broadcasting to yourself and others. I carried that programming with me for years, this belief that I needed external validation to feel worthy. Whether it was through achievements, financial success, or being accepted by others, I was chasing something that always felt just out of reach. But here's the thing, no amount of external validation could fix an internal story that was fundamentally flawed. My father was incredibly ambitious. He set goals that felt almost out of reach, like he was constantly chasing something bigger. But when he passed away, many of those goals weren't realized. That left a profound void in me, almost like my inner child was screaming, "Wait, this is what happens? You set impossible goals, fail to achieve them, and then you leave the world with this lingering feeling of not being enough." This realization was a radical awakening for me. It made me question everything. I thought there must be another way to approach life, to set goals, to live in alignment with what truly matters. I realized that the way we define success and the stories we attach to it can either liberate us or trap us. At that moment, I began to filter who or what was shaping my reality. I realized that I had been living under the shadow of someone else's dreams and their definition of success. It was time for me to write my own story. And that started with changing the program. I asked myself, who am I tuning into? What validation am I chasing? And why am I giving so much power to those who don't align with my values? This wasn't about rebellion anymore. It was about reclaiming. Dr. Lipton says that reprogramming starts with awareness. The first step is recognizing that these beliefs aren't yours. They are programs passed down from generations, from societal norms, or from fleeting comments made to us as children. And once you're aware, you can start reprogramming through affirmations, visualization, and most importantly, action. You begin to show yourself that the old narrative doesn't hold up anymore because you're a living proof of a new one. Take a moment to think about the stories you've been telling yourself. Are they truly your own, or are they borrowed from someone else's narrative? What programs are you still broadcasting that don't serve you? The beautiful thing is you have the power to choose your channel, to reprogram your beliefs, and to step into a life that aligns with your values. Rewriting your narrative isn't an overnight process. It starts with identifying one belief that feels limiting. Maybe it's "I'm not good enough" or "I don't deserve success." Then consciously replace it with a belief that serves you better, like "I am capable and worthy." Write down, say it out loud, and begin to act in alignment with it. Over time, as Lipton explains, this repetition creates new neural pathways, replacing the old programs with empowering ones. We all carry stories written in our childhood, shaped by those who raised us and the environments we lived in. But the beautiful thing is, we are the authors of our lives now. By recognizing the stories that no longer serve us, we can take the pen back and rewrite our narrative into one that aligns with who we truly are and who we want to become. Self-talk is the running commentary in our minds, what we tell ourselves about who we are, what we're capable of, and how we fit into the world. According to Dr. Bruce Lipton, our subconscious minds operate like a program, constantly replaying beliefs and thoughts that were ingrained in us, often from a very young age. These beliefs are like a playlist we didn't consciously choose, but one that has profound effect in our life. Dr. Lipton explains that 95% of our behaviors and thoughts are driven by our subconscious mind and only 5% by our conscious decisions. This means the majority of our actions stem from ingrained programming rather than deliberate choice. To change that, we need to tap into the subconscious and rewire it. Trust me, I know this sounds much easier than done. But here are 3 practical strategies to reprogram your mind. Start by listening to the voice in your head without judgment. Ask yourself, what stories am I repeating? Try to identify whose voice is this. Does this belief serve me or hold me back? For me, journaling is an excellent way to become aware of recurring thoughts and patterns. When you put pen to paper, you externalize those thoughts, making it easier to analyze and question them. Affirmations are a way to overwrite the old patterns with new, empowering beliefs. Dr. Bruce Lipton emphasizes that subconscious learns through repetition, much like a muscle that strengthens with regular exercise. Create affirmations that align with the life you want to lead. For example, I am enough, just I am. I am capable of achieving this. My voice matters. Repeat these daily, especially during moments of calm, like before bed or early in the morning when your brain is much more receptive. Visualization is a powerful tool to rewire the brain. By imagining the reality you want to create, you teach your mind to recognize it as possible. Combine this practice with the Silva method or other guided meditations to amplify its effectiveness. Close your eyes and imagine yourself already living your dream. What does it feel like, smell like, look like? These sensory details signal your brain to start aligning your actions with that vision. As I worked to reprogram my own self-talk, I began to notice a shift. I no longer felt bound by the expectations or failures of my past. The void my father's life had left within me began to fill with different energy, a belief that success isn't about unattainable goals, but about the progress, connection, and purpose. It's not about perfection, but about growth. Reprogramming your mind isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice. The more you align your self-talk with who you want to become, the more your life will shift in that direction. As Dr. Lipton says, you are the master of your genes, not their victim. Similarly, you are the master of your thought, not the prisoner. Imagine your inner dialogue as a song. If the current tune doesn't inspire you or uplift you, it's time to change the playlist. With awareness, affirmation, and visualization, you have the power to rewrite the script and create new melody, one that reflects the person you're becoming. Let's move to the next chapter, where we'll explore how daily habits like creating space for meaningful conversations with yourself can accelerate this transformation. What's fascinating is that this isn't just a feel-good advice. Neuroscience supports it. When you intentionally shift your inner dialogue, you're engaging in the process of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Repeated positive self-talk creates new neural pathways, essentially rewriting your brain to support a healthier, more empowered mindset. Rewriting your inner narrative isn't about ignoring the past or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that you are not your past, nor are you defined by the limiting beliefs you've carried. You are the editor of your story, and every moment gives you the chance to write a new chapter. For me, my father's passed away, and this feeling that he passed away not having completed all these goals that he had that seemed like the stars. And while they were left unfilled, that left me feeling hollow, as if I had inherited this narrative of never enough. That for me, though, was a catalyst to start paying attention to my own self-talk. I realized I had been broadcasting the story of not enough for way too long. And if I was going to rewrite it, I needed to take deliberate action. And I want to share with you my experience, and let's break this down into actionable steps and ways that you can shift your inner dialogue and begin reprogramming your mind. So I've broken it down to 5 steps, and number 1 is identify the script. Start by noticing the recurring thoughts or beliefs that dominate your mind. Write them down. Is there a theme? Maybe it's I'm not good enough or I'll never succeed. Whatever it is, just name it. Awareness is the first step towards change. Then number 2, challenge the belief. Ask yourself, is this true? Often the stories we tell ourselves are based on outdated fears or assumptions that you don't hold up when we really examine them. Number 3, choose a new program. Replace the old thought with one that aligns with the person you want to be. For example, if your belief is I'll never succeed, replace it with I am capable of learning and growing. 4, use repetition to reinforce. Just like those old programs became ingrained through repetition, new ones will still stick with consistent practice. Write affirmations, say them aloud, or even record them and listen to them daily. Dr. Lipton emphasizes the power of repetition and emotion in embedding new beliefs. And 5, visualization. This is a practice I've borrowed from the Silva method. Close your eyes and imagine yourself living out the new belief. See it, feel it, and experience it as if it's already true. Visualization bridges the gap between thought and action. Reprogramming my self-talk also meant slowing down. As a creative person, I've always had endless stream of ideas, and my instinct was to act on every single one. It felt like I was trying to patch a leaky boat by filling every hole as quickly as possible. But the truth is, I was exhausting myself and creating noise in my mind. I realized that I needed to sit with my ideas, with my emotions, and with my thoughts before diving into action. It's the same with self-talk. You can't rush the process. It's about being intentional, mindful, and patient. So here's the takeaway. Your self-talk is one of the most powerful tools you have to shape your reality. If the current script isn't serving you, you have the power to rewrite it. You have the power to decide which program plays next. Now let's dive into the transformative journey of moving from self-doubt to self-belief. For many of us, self-doubt isn't something that appears out of nowhere. It's deeply rooted in the stories and experiences we've carried with us. It's the voice of that inner critique, often planted in childhood, reinforced by societal expectations, or even magnified by failures and setbacks. For me, self-doubt was a constant shadow whispering that I wasn't enough. I vividly remember how it felt to step into rooms where I didn't feel I belonged, whether it was pitching an idea, speaking up in a meeting, or even sharing my dream. There was always that voice saying, "You'll fail. Who are you to even try?" But here's the truth. I've learned self-doubt is just a habit of thought. It's a neural pathway reinforced over years that can be rewired. And while it takes intention and effort, it's entirely possible to turn those whispers of doubt into affirmations of belief. Think of self-doubt as a well-worn path through a forest. It's easy to walk because it's familiar, but it doesn't lead to where you want to go. Self-belief, on the other hand, is like carving a new path. It's hardest at first because the ground is unbroken, but with each step, it becomes easier until it's the path you naturally take. One technique I've embraced is what Devin Bandison calls identity declarations. Instead of focusing on the outcome, focus on who you need to be to achieve it. For example, instead of saying, "I need to succeed," reframe it to, "I am someone who learns, grows, and thrives through challenges." This reframing shifts the focus from fear of failure to belief in your resilience. Self-belief isn't built in a day. It's built through small, consistent actions. When you challenge a doubt and succeed, no matter how small the success, you create evidence for your belief. A simple practice that has worked wonders for me is the nightly reflection. Each night, I wrote down one thing I did that I'm proud of, no matter how small. Over time, this practice becomes a testament of proof that I am capable and that I can trust myself. Finally, let's talk about reclaiming power from external validation. For so long, I believed my worth was tied to how others perceived me. But as I began to cultivate self-belief, I realized that true confidence doesn't come from others, it comes from within. When we stop looking outward for approval and start looking inward for alignment with our values and goals, self-doubt loses its power. It's no longer about what others think, it's about how you see yourself. Self-doubt might always whisper, but self-belief has the power to speak louder. With every thought you reframe, every small win you acknowledge, and every step you take forward toward trusting yourself, you're building a foundation of unshakable confidence. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with something practical and transformative. A free downloadable cheat sheet designed to help you create a love language with yourself. For many of us, self-doubt and inner criticism has become second nature. But it doesn't have to stay that way. You have the power to reframe the way you speak to yourself, transforming doubt into encouragement and fear into possibility. So here are the 3 practical steps on how you can create this love language with yourself. One is the I am practice. Words hold immense power, and starting with I am allows you to affirm the qualities you want to embody. These statements help align your thoughts with your highest potential. For example, I am resourceful and capable. I am learning and growing every day. These affirmations give you ownership of your journey and help you focus on the strengths you already possess. They create a foundation for resilience, especially in moments of doubt. Then number 2, the power of gratitude. Gratitude isn't limited to external circumstances. It's also about honoring your inner process. When self-criticism hits, replace it with a statement of gratitude for your effort and growth. For example, instead of "I should have done better," try "I am grateful for the effort I put and the lessons I learned." Acknowledging your journey creates space for kindness and understanding, and especially when you're navigating challenges. And 3, reframe "I can't" into "how can I?" Mental blocks often arise when we tell ourselves we can't do something. Instead of shutting the door, ask, "How can I make this work?" The simple shift reframes the situation, turning obstacles into opportunities for creativity and problem solving. For example, replace "I can't manage this task" with "How can I approach this task differently?" This subtle change encourages curiosity, inviting solutions and opening pathways you might not have considered. One of the most transformative changes in my life was when I began treating my inner voice as a friend rather than a critique. There was countless moments when I let fear or frustration dominate my thoughts, especially during pivotal moments in my journey. But when I started asking myself, what would I say to someone I love in this situation? Everything began to shift. Suddenly, the compassion I freely gave to others became a gift I could extend to myself. This journey of self-talk isn't about perfection. It's about presence. Every kind word you speak to yourself builds a bridge towards self-acceptance and resilience. Download the cheat sheet linked in the description and let it serve as daily reminder to rewire your inner dialogue into one that uplifts and empowers you. And as part of our tradition, I want to ask you, what's one "I am" statement you'll carry with you this week? Share it in the comments down below. Let's inspire each other to embrace a language of love and empowerment within. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing this sacred space. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe. It truly helps grow this community and continue these meaningful conversations. Until next time, remember, the way you speak to yourself shapes the life you create. You are capable, resilient, and more powerful than you realize. Till next time, take care of you and see you soon.